Most of the time when I listen to my old things that I did for the Sports Buffet podcast or Talking High School Sports or WKDE, I cringe. However, it's really cool to have interviewed someone and then later you meet their son. That is the case with former soccer coach at Heritage High School, Tom Marshall. Interviewed him back in the day of the early days of Talking High School Sports. I've now met his son, Nathan. Outstanding young man, and he's even getting me more into soccer as we sit there and talk when we're at work about the soccer happenings of today and more. Maybe Nathan Marshall could be one of the few second-generation people that we have on our podcast. That would be fun. But here's a throwback into the old days of the Sports Buffet podcast. I think it was Talking High School Sports when I interviewed Heritage soccer coach at the time, Tom Marshall. Tom Marshall, head boys soccer coach at Heritage High School. I caught up with him on Wednesday night. We looked ahead to the district Pioneers. Travel to Moneta tonight to play Stand River. Here's Tom Marshall on the Sports Buffet podcast.
Tom Marshall, head coach of the Heritage Pioneers boys soccer team, joins me on the Sports Buffet podcast to talk a little soccer here. And Coach, obviously some losses from last year in terms of graduating seniors. Coming into the season, how did you view the year?
This season, we have a lot of talent on the team. Last year we had a lot of sophomores who were starting for us, especially at midfield. So those guys are now juniors, and they had the experience playing varsity last year. So we're just expecting those guys to improve.
When you guys obviously want to improve, unfortunately for you, the rest of the district improves as well. When you look at the rest of the district, what do you see?
I think it's going to be a pretty competitive year, at least so far from the scores I've been seeing. I mean, I think Rustburg's 4-1 right now. Stanton River beat Liberty. So, I mean, it just looks like, everybody's going to be really competitive. There might be no gimme games this year.
And, of course, JF is JF.
Right.
So, talk a little bit about your team, about the what you perceive to be the strengths of the club.
Right now we have 4 defenders who are seniors. So we're looking for our defense to be strong and hopefully to be pretty solid back there. Again, at midfield, we got guys returning who were sophomores last year, so they're juniors this year, and they're just getting better. And up top we've got our senior Josh Landis, who I think is going to lead us up top. He's also a team captain. And then we have Stephon Phelps, who's Ben Phelps' little brother. Ben Phelps was one of the top scorers in the district last year. So hopefully he's going to be able to step into his big brother's shoes for us. And we got a couple of guys, international players who are now residents in Lynchburg playing for us. Scott Lancaster is a forward, and he lived in Brazil for the past 8 years. Played a lot of soccer there, so we're hoping he's going to fill a big role for us up top. And we have Stefan Bracamonte, who is originally from Peru, who has a really great touch on the ball. He can play pretty much anywhere you put him. So we're looking for, we're just trying to get everyone to come together right now. We've had a couple of tough losses here at the beginning, but it's a long season, so I think everything's going to start gelling for us pretty soon.
What do you notice in the international players that come over maybe different from, the guys that have been in Lynchburg for a long time?
Usually the international guys they seem to have a better touch on the ball and just more confidence with the ball. A lot of the local players, when they get the ball, it's almost like they panic a little bit. What am I supposed to do with it? Or their touch is just unsure. And these international guys, you can tell that they spend a lot of time, just playing with the ball, touching the ball. A lot of juggling, especially in South America. So that really helps us and give us some confidence on the field, when we're under pressure from some of these other teams.
For people listening to this interview and may not be big soccer fans, but are maybe bigger Heritage fans or, big Tom Marshall fans, because there are a lot of those out there, of course, obviously. But describe what you mean when you say touch on the ball.
Being able to control the ball. I mean, soccer, basketball, everyone uses their hands every day, but you don't use your feet a lot except for walking, maybe doing some running, but not having any kind of finesse with an object. So being able to control the ball with your feet, get it to do what you want, move where you want it to go, and keep it close to you at the same time. That's an essential skill for soccer.
Do you find that the language barrier has been difficult at all for maybe your relationship or your what you're trying to get across to the international players? Because I know you've had a few throughout the seasons here.
We've had a few in the past, who could speak very little English at the beginning of the season, but what's great is, they start hanging out with the other guys on the team. The other guys on the team work with them on and off the field, talking to them, spending time with them, and they really pick up, on English pretty quickly. So I haven't really had any problems, telling them what I want them to do. Now, sometimes I think they pretend that they don't understand what I'm telling them.
Now, when you talked about, too, Stefan Phelps being the younger brother of Ben Phelps, how important is it that you kind of don't really get into the comparison game of comparing Stefan to his older brother? Or is it not important? I mean, do you want to do that?
Yeah, they're two different individuals, and they play differently. Stefan, he seems to have a natural skill very similar to Ben, but they're very different players. Ben's a little more aggressive than Stefan, probably in front of the goal. So I mean, I don't talk to Stefan a lot about you need to play like your brother, but
right.
We hope he wants to be a forward, and so part of being a forward is scoring goals, and that's what Ben did for us.
When you look at other teams in the district, how many of the other teams in the district, in your opinion, have that one player to where they, just kind of strike the fear of God into you, and who would those players be from the other teams?
I'm not good with names. Usually I see them and I think, oh, that's that kid. But at JF, there's several. And when we played JF our first game, which is a tough game to open with, and Dempsey had a hat trick, so that's definitely somebody you have to look out for. I know at Amherst, Matt McGinn, a midfielder who has a lot of passion. I mean, he plays hard. He's going to hustle the whole game. Those are guys that we look out for.
Would you rather play a good offensive team or a good defensive team?
Probably a good defensive team.
How come?
Well, if they're good defensively, maybe we can at least keep the ball at midfield or on their half of the field, and maybe we're just not scoring. But if they're good offensively and they're putting balls in the back of our net, that's something that's harder to recover from.
And it seems like, in basketball, if you watch an up-tempo game, maybe to a college game where it gets in the 90s or even the 100s, what would be classified as a up-tempo soccer game? Because soccer is obviously a little bit slower of a sport in terms of scoring.
An up-tempo game it's going to be a close game, really, in soccer. We played Nelson County to a tie, and the two overtimes when we played those two overtimes, are some of the most intense soccer I've seen because, both teams are just battling, trying to get the ball down their side and put it in the net. So I would say the closer games are the ones that are the up-tempo games, the ones with a lot of intensity.
How do you like your new surface over at Heritage?
Oh, it's great, and I think it's gonna improve our program a lot. We had it last year. Last year was the first year, so we were kind of getting used to it. But this year, we're really growing into that. Gives us a little more space, a little wider, and you don't have to worry about any nasty bounces.
Do you feel that the surface really plays more of a home field advantage, or is the surface not really a big deal?
It can definitely be an advantage. For example, if you go to William Byrd, they play on a much smaller field.
Right.
And I think that's a huge advantage for William Byrd because they're used to it. At our place, we're playing a team that's used to, a ball that's bouncing around a lot, and that's the type of soccer they play. They get to our field and it doesn't do that. We put it on the ground trying to make good passes. So I think it can be an advantage. But, teams can overcome that, too, with just playing physical and playing with intensity.
I was going to say, for lack of a better term, though, the turf that you guys have is really not going to make many teams, though, worse. They're going to probably be better off that, correct?
Right, yeah. I think so.
Yeah, final question for you, Coach. Definitely appreciate your time. Talk about the schedule ahead, what you've got coming up, and how you think you guys can do in those games.
We have Stanton River tomorrow, and Appomattox on Friday. we're looking to, start putting in some wins. We had JF first and Liberty second, and we lost a tough one to Liberty. We had lots of chances to score and just couldn't finish on those balls, and we made a couple mistakes on defense and paid for them. So we're looking to, go into Stanton River tomorrow and put away a win. The same thing with Appomattox on Friday. And we have Nelson County Monday and Appomattox again on Tuesday. So
not much rest.
No, we don't have any rest at the beginning of the season.
Coach, definitely appreciate your time. We look forward to talking to you again.
All right, thank you.
Tom Marshall on the Sports Buffet Podcast.